Good evening, and thank you for tuning into Out of the Box. Joining me, I have Randy Ritnour, design lead and game creator of Takamo Universe, as well as Sean and Mark, better known as Player One and Player Two of the Cartridge Brothers. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so happy to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
Now, Randy, we're going to start with you. Tell us just a little bit about yourself, your history. How did you get into game design?
Well, actually, I've been involved in game design since about 1982. I was a college student, and we were actually trying to develop some interactive games while I was at the University of Nebraska, and had a bunch of students who were meeting actually in the student union, and we were running kind of an ongoing, more of a role play than anything else, but the fantasy game that we'd actually meet throughout the day and play the game. One of my friends introduced me to a play-by-mail game, and that got me to thinking about whether or not I might want to do something similar. And so I pulled a couple of other friends in college together, and we set up a company called Advent Games, and began to design a Takamo, which ended up being a strategic level play-by-mail game, science fiction game, that ran for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
We actually had the game for about 10 years, then sold it. And I went off to law school and came back to Nebraska later on, and found that the game had run a lot longer than I had anticipated. But it had actually stopped running just a couple years before I came back. So I was going to design another game and got together with one of my friends, Tom Walla, who's the president of Hobbytown USA. He was actually involved in some of the game design and playtest of the old game, and said, "Hey, I want to design a game." And he said, "Gee, you just don't have enough to do with your life, you've got to." I said, "Nah, I want to do games again." So he got together with me and he said, "Why don't you just buy Takamo back?" And so we did that back in the late 90s, ran it as a play-by-email game for a while. And then eventually we stopped doing that when I lost my mind and decided political office as a county attorney.
Oh, wow. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, well, so anyway, so I've been involved in that particular game, and we also developed some other games. One was called Pacific Conflict and Atlantic Conflict, a couple of World War II games, and some other things. Takamo actually had about 10,000 customers altogether, players altogether over the years, about
Wow.
3,000 at any one time. So it was kind of an MMO before there were MMOs, because it was
That's awesome.
snail mail games.
Snail mail. All right, Player One and Player Two. Just want to give a brief history of you guys. Now, you two are brothers.
That is
so
correct.
you grew up gaming together.
Yeah.
We did.
What would you say was your favorite game growing up?
Oh.
As in to play together, or
Yeah,
separately?
play together.
All right.
I
What do
would
you
say
think?
I would say A Link to the Past. It wasn't together so much as it was turns. So a lot of our games
Right.
it was take turns. Because if we didn't, it just would have been whichever one of us was bigger would have played more, and then player two wouldn't be a gamer.
That actually happened.
Or Player Two.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Link to the Past was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun with like the Mega Man series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. P2 is really big into platformers, and so a lot of times it would be see who can go the farthest before dying, and then somebody else would take over.
Sounds like
Those
a
are
lot
the
of fun.
days.
Yeah.
So, out of the games that you played when you were younger, which games do you still play now?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
We're actually big into retro games. That's kind of our big focus.
Yeah.
There's just something about the 16-bit era that I think is probably the favorite for both of us, I would think. What do you think?
Yeah, you look so good in sprites. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? Final Fantasy 4 or 2 as it was known here, and 3/6. Those are amazing. We both love RPGs. The whole SquareSoft RPG for the Super Nintendo, that whole genre is you can't beat them. And we both do love our old school gaming. It's
Yeah.
So did you primarily just play on the Nintendo platform, or did you play any Sega? Or coming from a Sonic girl, so
Ooh,
Oh, are you?
I had to
yeah.
know that before the podcast.
Yeah. Our mother told us to stay away from Sonic Girls because they're all too fast.
Down in B, baby, down in B.
It was for us. It was mostly Nintendo. We had our parents, I guess, decided we were going to be Nintendo fanboys from the beginning. So that's what we had growing up: NES, Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube.
Well,
We branched into PlayStation 2, but yeah.
that didn't last long, I'm sure.
Uh, yeah. Well, I mean, when it's up between them or Microsoft, it's an easy choice.
Yeah, I'll agree to that. Now, Randy, what would you say was one of your favorite games when you were playing when you were younger?
Oh, when I was younger, boy, I don't know.
For now, whichever.
Mass Effect is the game that I really like.
It's a good choice.
It's a very good choice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quick question for all of you. What games would you like to see remade?
Ooh.
Final Fantasy 4 and 6.
Well, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6.
4 definitely.
6 would be nice.
Yeah.
4 had that DS remake that was really nice.
Yeah. It was all right.
But 7, I mean, 7 is the one we want to see HD.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the easy answer. Yeah.
Randy, are there any games from your childhood or your past that you'd like to see remade? more
Sure.
current?
Takamo.
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to get to that. Another quick question for all of you, since I know that you all three have a deep love for gaming, obviously, or you wouldn't be here doing what you're doing today. Are there any developments that you're currently watching either on YouTube or Kickstarter? Any things you're looking at for the future?
I heard about this really good MMO that's in development.
It's true. We were talking about some really cool stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
So we're excited to see what happens with Takamo.
Yeah.
But yeah, as for upcoming games, I think what are some big upcoming games that we're into? Dark Souls 2, I know, is a big one that I'm actually looking forward to, that I follow quite a lot.
And Mighty Number 9 is another one that I think the whole gaming community is excited for.
Yeah.
Except that I guess I live under a rock. What is that?
Oh.
It's
Keiji Inafune, he's the creator of Mega Man.
Yeah.
And Capcom essentially said, we're not going to make any more games that people like. So he left.
Wow.
And
Good
he
for
did
him.
yeah, that's right. And he did a Kickstarter for a game called Mighty Number 9. And if you look at any photos of it, you can tell heavily influenced by Mega Man.
It is a Mega Man game. There's no
yeah.
doubt.
And it was they had certain benchmarks to hit to have it on the consoles. It was just initially going to be on PC, and it blew all the benchmarks away. And we're looking, I think it's 2015. They're looking at having it for us. So anybody who's a Mega Man fan is excited about that.
Absolutely. And that question leads us perfectly into Randy. Let's hear about Takamo. Tell us about it.
Okay, Takamo. Actually, the game we're developing is the next Takamo, so to speak. It's Takamo Universe. Takamo again was a strategic level space game or science fiction game that had about 300 players per database. What we want to do is we want to take that and turn it into a game that has an unlimited number of player empires in the game. So it's literally set. It's a persistent universe MMO that's set in the old history, or steeped in the old history of the old Takamo game. So you have all of these thousands of player empires who used to be in various galaxies, and we call it 5 galaxies, that are now existing and have a history within this new universe that we've created. It's still strategic level. It's still using an awful lot of the same game mechanics that we had in Takamo. The darn thing we thought it was going to run for 5 years back then. It ran for 20.
Wow.
And of course, we beat out a lot of the issues and problems that you would have with an MMO in that time frame. So we're really kind of ahead of ourselves in terms of developing this thing. But it's going to be a game that has it develops itself, so to speak. It has all of the history and the archives and things like that in the game from the old history of Takamo. The players start with a solar system, a homeworld, several fleets and colonies, and then they begin to expand out into the universe. What they're doing, though, is they're actually in kind of a post-apocalyptic galaxy.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. In the old galaxy, essentially what happened is there was a war amongst a number of alien races. They were starting to defeat just about everybody in that particular quadrant of the galaxy. The response of the losing Grand Alliance was to create cybernetic races. They then went after the Noplians, who are the bad guys. They defeat them, and then the Grand Alliance says, "Okay, now, Cybers, you don't need to be here anymore." And the Cybers said, "No, that's a bad idea." And so they came back to the galaxy, pretty much destroyed most of the civilization that's there. What you now have is these mostly human empires or solar systems that are now spreading back out into the galaxy. Their technology is based on the old empires that were out there. So literally what you're doing is you're engaging in R&D, and you're also going out into explore and find derelict ships, old archives and things like that that'll give you more tech. And then you utilize that to tech up. So you get ship frames that you can design the interiors on, but they're from old empires. So
that's incredible.
So all of the tech you're doing, you're engaging in, or research you're engaging in, has to do with old, ancient empires that left stuff for you to get.
That's awesome. So you really have this wealth of lore and history to work with. It's just a matter of actually building the virtual world and shipping it out. So that's awesome. How difficult was it to branch out from play-by-mail to email games and onto designing a fully persistent MMO? I mean, that's a huge jump.
Well, it is and it isn't. You remember, we've been doing this for decades. I'm not old. But,
Since before you were born.
Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, the jump from play-by-mail to play-by-email was easy, because essentially we just changed the reports over so that we could accept the turns online and then turn around and email them back out. That's not a problem. Certainly going into a fully persistent universe in terms of the programming now is quite a challenge, but we've got a pretty good team. We've got about 15 people, and we're adding more folks all the time. The game mechanics itself really Takamo lends itself to an MMO format. So that part's not a problem. We've already had programs that develop all of the database that we need, the star systems and everything else. We're experienced at doing that, just in a different format. So a lot of that stuff is working out pretty well.
Awesome. So as difficult as it may be, it's really a natural progression for you guys.
It is. It really is. It's something we've done before, and so it makes a lot of sense to just turn around and convert it. The one thing that I mentioned to you earlier was that it's really difficult for us right now is that the universe is going to be so big that we need a lot. We've got a ton, but we need a lot more. And
gotcha.
That was one of the things I mentioned earlier before the cast.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of potential for Takamo. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I know you said that you're aiming to have beta out by December next year. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We'll be looking out for that. Where did you get your inspiration to create games like this? The whole Takamo universe.
Oh, the whole Takamo universe?
Yeah.
For me, it was I love science fiction, always have, and so actually going out and trying to develop something that was in sort of an epic or had an epic feel to it was just something natural for me. I love Isaac Asimov, and the Foundation series, and it was just a good fit for me. Oh, one thing I will mention to you as well. When we were in, we already did a Kickstarter once, but we weren't successful with that Kickstarter. Part of that was the fact that we just didn't have enough buzz out there, letting people know just exactly what it was. The other dilemma we found was that people were having a hard time wrapping their head around what it was that we were trying to develop. So we're gonna be going back toward either Indiegogo or Kickstarter here later on. But one of the things we're gonna do now is we're actually bringing back the old Takamo game as well. So,
that's neat.
Yeah, so we're actually going to have the play-by-email version of Takamo up and running in the next few weeks, and then that's going to be a free game. So anybody who wants to play it can go ahead and get online and get a position set up, and that way they can begin to understand just what Takamo was like.
Well, it's ingenious to reintroduce that to really a whole new generation. While you're trying to simultaneously get this MMO off the ground. So that's incredible.
Yep.
What would you say is the biggest challenge you found designing Takamo Universe?
Well, we got several challenges. Probably the biggest challenge that we've had is teaching programmers to think in terms of an older strategic level science fiction game and approaching it from that standpoint, because a lot of folks, especially most of the programmers, like you said, weren't even alive when Takamo was introduced. So there's a different style of gaming that's out there now versus what you saw before. Takamo is a game where you literally, you take your fleets, you jump them into hyperspace, and they're not going to come out for a while. It's not instant gratification in terms of what happens. You're not going to sit there and you're going to jump a fleet to another star system and you're going to see a battle right away. You're going to jump a fleet in. I mean, you're running a strategic level game, so you're running all sorts of things, but you're going to jump a fleet into hyperspace, and you're going to get an alert on an app you have, whether it's on your email or your smartphone or whatever else, a day and a half from now, the fleet reporting that it's into that location. So,
that's cool.
That is
so
cool.
having programmers try to wrap their heads around that is it's been difficult to get to understand what's going on. They look at you and they go, "What?" I mean, well, a long time is 10 minutes. I mean, what are you telling me? So that's
a really neat concept.
It is. It's really awesome. And you mentioned that Takamo is not your only project. It may be your favorite, but what would you classify as your favorite project that you designed or worked on?
Oh, well, I'd have to say that Takamo was my favorite project, but we also did a number of other games back in the 80s. We did a 2-player Pacific War game called Pacific Conflict. We had actually a submarine game that was set in World War II, the Atlantic in World War II.
Neat.
That is neat.
We had a couple others that were sort of under development. We actually had a play-by-mail game magazine called Gaming Universal that we ran for a while, a few years, and then let's see what else. There were a couple other games. We bought out a game called Galactac, which was more of a tactical level, 2-dimensional game. So yeah, but we had a number of different projects going. So game design is not new to me by any means.
Well, we're excited to see the future of Takamo for sure. So that's definitely one that's on my radar. So player 1, player 2, do we have you convinced that you need to check out this game yet?
Already planning it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It sounds like an MMO that I could get back into.
Consume us.
Well, Randy, I'm going to ask you one more question for now before I pick on player 1 and player 2. Are there any games or MMOs that you're playing currently?
Actually, it's just a PC game that I'm playing right now, and it's just the old Hearts of Iron.
Oh, cool. That is awesome.
that's a bit of a favorite of mine right now. So.
All right. Well, Sean and Mark, you are in the hot seat now. So get
Come
ready.
Get 'em, get 'em.
What two games do you wish you could combine?
Oh, jeez.
Two games that I could combine.
Mhm.
I would have to say Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and I'm going to cancel that. Star Fox and any Final Fantasy. I would love to see. I want to see. I want to see like a good Star Fox RPG.
That would
How
be
about
awesome.
Metroid and Castlevania?
That's good.
It's already the same game.
Needs to happen.
I'm just imagining Metroid and Castlevania. That's awesome.
Great mix.
What game system do you think didn't reach its fullest potential?
Definitely didn't reach its fullest potential. I mean, right now you could say the Wii U, but
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say
It'll
that.
get
It's
there.
in my living room being freezing cold and lonely right now.
You gotta
I,
get
yeah, we both have one and we love them.
yeah.
But the Dreamcast actually is a system that it didn't do well, and it should have, because there's a lot of games. Looking back now, there's a lot of good games of all genres on the Dreamcast. There's Skies of Arcadia is a great RPG on there. Crazy Taxi is a great game on there. So yeah, I would say the Dreamcast.
Do
Sega
either of you
Saturn,
have
man.
any- Oh, I forgot about the Saturn.
Yeah.
Man, I feel ancient. Do you have any theories on why either of those didn't do well?
Sega.
Yeah, the Dreamcast was
Sorry.
it innovated in a lot of ways. I think it was the first system to have online play before people knew they wanted online play,
Yep.
and it was
kind
the
of
first one
before
to
its
have.
time.
Yeah, it was before its time, and
Incredibly.
they rushed to get it out, and it was just they were trying to keep up because Sony was doing so well, and
Right.
Sega wanted to come ahead, and I think they just put too much too soon.
They had the 32X coming out on the Genesis, and then
Yeah.
6 months after they released the 32X, they announced the Saturn, and then they give the Saturn 2, maybe 3 years, and they say, okay, Dreamcast is coming now as well, and
Yeah.
it was just too much
They're
at
really
once.
fast.
And then you throw the Sega CD in the middle of there.
Forgot
Got
about that one
overwhelmed. They
entirely.
lost faith. Yeah, it was too much at once.
So sad. It
Poor
doomed
Sega.
them. So the new rivalry, Xbox One or PS4?
I think for both of us, the answer is PS4. Microsoft has now they have gone back on a lot of stuff they said, but they essentially attempted to destroy console gaming as we know it.
Yeah.
And they realized that wasn't going to be allowed to happen because Nintendo didn't go on with it, Sony didn't go on with it, so Microsoft had to back out or they would have been done. But they, when it comes down to it, and just it's not a huge deal, but when you look at just from launch titles with Call of Duty Ghosts, neither one of us plays first-person shooters, but that's a game that runs at 1080p, 60 frames a second on a PS4, but on the Xbox One it can only do 720. So it brings up the question of, why am I spending $600 for a system that's still only giving me 720?
Right.
You know,
That's a good
That's a
point.
good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, buying an Xbox One just gives them another chance to do it again, and that's all it comes down to.
yeah,
It's a matter of who do you want to support with your money.
that's right.
A little sour.
Buy a PC and get Steam.
Yeah, buy a PC. You know what? Forget most of them.
Absolutely. Well,
Buy
I'm a
buy
PC gamer,
Wii
so
U. Wii U and PC.
So we talked a little bit about the games that you played when you were children, and I know you said that a lot of that was spent actually taking turns playing, but what would you say was your favorite genre to play together? Is it platformers or...
Together?
Mhm.
Probably platformers, I would say. I mean, Mario has always been huge with us. But, playing through an RPG at the same time as my brother was actually what compelled me to get into RPGs so much, because he was playing RPGs. I mean, I was 5 when I beat my first Final Fantasy, and it was only because...
wow.
it was only because of being able to watch him and know what was coming ahead, and it actually taught me to read a lot better. So I really owe a lot to RPGs. So. It's
So
kind
for
of a.
anybody who says that games kill brain cells, they obviously know.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
So do you often play games now against each other? Just P1 versus P2?
I don't know. I wouldn't say we play against each other, but we definitely compete on scoreboards and stuff. Zombie U for the Wii U. We there's any of your friends on your on the Miiverse there. They come into your game and you can kill them and get supplies from them. And I have
Harsh,
bashed his head in a
harsh.
couple of times.
Who
No,
tends- you have the
some,
highest score? You have the highest score for that, though, right?
No.
Scoreboards? Oh, no.
Oh
Wait.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Now we're a little
note to
competitive,
self,
but
I need that game.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
you're
you
right.
should pick that up. It's a lot of fun.
I'll have to look
Yeah.
into that. Did your parents always envision your success at video games bleeding out into your success in the real world?
I think our parents just didn't want to spend any time with us, and they figured,
Yeah.
You
Raised
know,
by
Here, go play a
Miyamoto.
game.
yeah, Miyamoto seemed like a good babysitter, so they just put us in front of the Nintendo.
Hey, it's a
They
good idea.
A lot of
yeah,
good values from Nintendo.
yeah. In all honesty, though, they would our family would we wouldn't take vacations together as a family or go places. We would actually play games together. So we beat the first Legend of Zelda as a family, and I remember our father being on the phone with the Nintendo hotline because we couldn't figure out the Lost Woods.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And
Yeah.
I've read that even your grandma played. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah,
That's awesome.
she's
We
good.
used the word played loosely. She tried.
Yeah,
Hey,
is great.
that's awesome. She
Yeah.
tried.
she never gave up, which is
That's
where
right.
we get that.
Persistence.
So as adults, when do you find time to play together?
All my personal relationships suffer. Yeah, my girlfriend's actually watching this right now and texting.
Yeah.
That's why you marry a gamer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I should.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So she plays the DS. I'm in the Navy, so I luckily get the opportunity to play a lot of handhelds when I'm at work, when I'm sailing and stuff.
That's convenient.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and if it's a longer trip, I can take a console along with me. So I get time in at work, which is nice.
It's true, and the beauty of us having the YouTube channel now and our Cartridge Club is it gives us a chance, and it sort of almost forces us to get together and make time to play these games so that we can create videos for our reviews and everything like that. So it kind of helps us spend a lot of time together too. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. So you keep that strong brotherly relationship forever.
that's right. Less
Yeah.
noogies, but yeah.
I'm sure you enjoy that much more.
But-
So tell us more about what you do as Cartridge Brothers, your YouTube channel, your webpage. Those of us say that aren't as acquainted with that. Just tell us a
Sure.
little bit about it.
Well, it started with P2 being sort of a stalker on YouTube in the gaming community. For years, was watching anybody who had a YouTube channel, and he would always tell me, "Start watching YouTube and get on here, and let's make a channel so we can talk to people and we can make friends and we can talk to people who have the same interests." And so eventually, last year, I think we're almost a year now, we did.
yeah.
And it started off with reviews, and so we review old games, new games, and that's on our YouTube channel. But we really wanted to branch out more and interact with people more. So what we did was we started the Cartridge Club, which is a book club for gamers. So every month a game is chosen. Up until this point, we've always chosen the game because we're control freaks. But so we announce it at the start of the month, and we invite every one of our subscribers to play. We invite anybody we know to play, and then at the end of the month, we choose 3 people, and we have a podcast, and we talk about that game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's Pride and Prejudice and Mario. Yeah, and this month the game's Mega Man X, which is extremely difficult as an adult, unless
For some.
yeah, unless you're my brother, I guess.
You know,
That's
I
just-
downloaded Sonic 1 for Android onto my phone, and I suck at it really,
It's
really bad.
hard. It's a hard game.
It didn't seem that hard when I was like 8. You
I know, isn't
but
that funny how that works? It's all memory based, those Sonic games, though. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I remember exactly. I can't make those jumps anymore. I have no idea why.
Yeah, they can be tricky.
You just gotta
So-
practice.
Yeah, just need practice. So you primarily focus on those classic type console games for your podcast, correct?
Yes. Up to this point, it's been those. We are looking at because there's so many older games that are great that either one of us missed or other people missed that we wanted to be able to bring those to people's attentions. We have a lot of friends that just get into gaming in like the PS2, PS3 era,
Yeah.
and there's so many good titles in the Super Nintendo that we didn't want them to miss out on. But I know we're planning on Dark Souls 2 being an upcoming episode. That's a spoiler alert, I guess.
We won't tell, except the whole internet, you know.
Yeah, it's just the internet.
Do you see you guys branching out into more of like an MMO type game to feature on a podcast, or do you primarily stick to other genres?
It's tough because my fiance, I don't think I barely have time to do what we have now, and, I'm sure she'd kill me if I started getting back into WoW or something of that nature.
Last thing you need is an MMO addiction.
Exactly. However, this Takamo Universe sounds like a pretty good option.
It does, doesn't
Because
it?
it's not just you have to sit there and this is something that you have to plan out and things happen over time. It sounds more like up my alley. So, yeah.
I think it sounds awesome. I'm really excited
too.
to try it out. So, well, you guys, this has been a lot of fun. I do appreciate you guys joining me. I do have one last question for each of you. And
Sure.
this is the stickler question. Pancakes or waffles?
Ooh. Waffles.
Pancakes.
Oh,
You have 2 for pancakes and 1 for waffles.
can't believe we're from the same womb.
I know, right? Well, I'm a waffles kind of girl, so at least
Waffles
we're
all the way.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'd have to fill every one of those
Sugar
squares with
zaps
syrup.
for that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining
Well, thanks
me.
for having us.
And I'll be keeping an eye on Takamo Universe. Randy, that sounds awesome. I
Yes.
cannot wait to see what the future holds for that.